The Internet History in the Philippines. Hi, welcome to DocPC channel. So, I was watching some videos about the history of the Internet, and it made me think, what if I did the same thing, but for the Philippines? I mean, the Internet here is so different from other countries, and every time I try to explain it to foreigners, they just don't get it. So, I thought it would be fun to make a video covering how the Internet evolved here in the Philippines. I was actually surprised when I started researching because I found out there were way more significant developments than I initially thought. In fact, I learned that the Philippines was even ahead of some developed countries in terms of internet access. I guess that explains why my family was able to get internet in our house in the early 2000s while our neighbors in Japan didn't have it until 2006. But anyway, let's start at the very beginning. Before we get into the history of the internet in the Philippines, I want to talk about how people used to get online before the internet was available. If you've seen my video about Philippine dial-up internet, you know that people would connect to the internet through phone lines. This meant that only one person could use the internet at a time. And if someone needed to use the phone, you had to disconnect first. Also, you had to pay per minute for your internet time. So people would use services like Yahoo Messenger to chat with their friends so they could keep their connection even after their computer was idle. There were also internet cafes where people could go to use the internet and pay per hour. They were basically the Starbucks of the late 90s. By the late 90s, Filipinos were already using email, chat rooms, and message boards. And the most popular search engine was Yahoo. It wasn't until Google came out in 1998 that people started using it more. By the late 90s, people were also getting personal computers or PCs. The most popular brand was IBM-compatible PCs, which were cheaper than Apple products. The operating system of choice was Microsoft Windows, and the most popular web browser was Netscape Navigator. It wasn't until Internet Explorer came out that Microsoft Windows became a requirement for internet use. The first ISP, or Internet Service Provider in the Philippines, was the Philippine Long Distance Telephone Company, or PLDT, which launched its internet service in 1994. This was followed by other ISPs like Global Connection, Cyberzone, Wave, and Smart. These ISPs offered dial-up connections and the sound that accompanied it. To get an internet connection, you had to call their customer service and ask them to activate your account. Once activated, you would then dial their number to connect to the internet. The monthly fee was around 700 pesos or about $13 at the time. The first website in the Philippines was registered in 1994 and was the website of the Philippine Stock Exchange. The first Filipino to have an internet connection was Manny Pangilinan, who was the chairman of the Philippine Stock Exchange at the time. He got his connection through PLDT. The first Filipino to have an email account was R. Valdez, who was the president of the Philippine Internet and Computer Society, or PIX. He got his account through UAP, which was a local insurance company that offered internet services. In the early days, people would use the internet for research and school reports. However, as the internet became more popular, people started using it for gaming. The most popular game at the time was Ragnarok Online, which was a multiplayer online role-playing game, or MMORPG. It was released in 2002 and quickly became popular in the Philippines. Other popular games include Star Trek Online, Warcraft 3, Counter-Strike, and Dota. There were also many forums and websites dedicated to these games. For example, there was a website called Pinoy Dota, which was dedicated to the game Dota. It featured news, guides, and forums. There was also a popular show called Game Ka Ba, which aired on a local TV channel. The show featured local gamers, and it was very popular among internet users. In the early 2000s, broadband started becoming more popular in the Philippines. The first broadband service was DSL, or Digital Subscriber Line, which was offered by PLDT in 2001. This was followed by cable internet, which was offered by Sky Cable in 2004. Although broadband was faster than dial-up, it was still not as fast as satellite internet. Satellite internet was first offered in the Philippines in 2000 by Satlink. It was very expensive at first, but the prices came down in the mid-2000s. Despite this, satellite internet was never as popular as DSL or cable internet. In the mid-2000s, social media started becoming popular in the Philippines. The first social media platform to become popular was Friendster, which was launched in 2002. It was followed by Multiply, which was a social networking site that allowed users to create their own websites or blogs. Multiply was very popular in the Philippines, and it was often used by businesses to promote their products and services. There were also many social media platforms that were specific to the Philippines. For example, there was a website called Pinoy Classifieds, which was similar to Craigslist, and there was a social media platform called Tag 911, which was similar to Facebook. By the late 2000s, smartphones started becoming more popular in the Philippines. The first smartphone to become popular was the iPhone, which was released in 2007. It was followed by Android phones, which were cheaper and more accessible to the average Filipino. The rise of smartphones led to the growth of mobile internet users in the Philippines. As of 2015, there are over 100 million mobile internet users in the country. In the late 2010s, the internet in the Philippines was characterized by the rise of social media, streaming services, and e-commerce. Social media is deeply ingrained in Filipino culture, with platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok being widely used. Streaming services like Netflix and YouTube have also become popular, with Filipinos spending hours each day watching videos and movies online. E-commerce has also grown significantly, with many Filipinos shopping online for clothes, food, and other essentials. This growth has been fueled by the increasing number of smartphones and the proliferation of free Wi-Fi hotspots. As of 2021, the Philippines has a population of over 110 million people. Of this population, over 50% or 55.5 million people have access to the internet. This represents a growth of almost 10% from 2020, when only 45.9% of the population had internet access. It is expected that the number of internet users in the Philippines will continue to grow in the coming years as more people get access to smartphones and the internet becomes more affordable. It is important to note that the internet in the Philippines is highly concentrated in urban areas, with less than 50% of rural households having access to the internet. This disparity is due to a number of factors, including lower population density in rural areas and limited infrastructure. However, the government is investing in infrastructure projects such as the National Broadband Network, which aims to provide high-speed internet access to even the most remote areas of the country. Overall, the Philippines has come a long way in terms of internet penetration and access. From its humble beginnings in the 1990s, the internet has evolved into a vital part of Filipino culture and the economy. As technology continues to evolve, it is likely that more Filipinos will come online and the country's internet usage will continue to grow. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. You can follow me on social media. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos. Until next time, maraming salamat.